Welcome to a new episode of The Confident Closers. My name is Anna Maria, your host, and today I have an amazing guest, not only just guest, but friend, industry friend. You can call it everything you want. Her name is Victoria Sanchez, and let me just introduce her real quick for all of you who are listening today. Victoria Sanchez is a financial expert and a successful entrepreneur and business mentor. Her passion is to develop leaders in the area of financial services and empower families to have success in this area following simple, practical, and efficient methods. Victoria helps people who are interested in having professional and business success in the USA under the new economy system, particularly in the industries of investment, insurance, and real estate. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here today and to share this episode of Confident Closers. I love it. I love the name because you really empower that confidence. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
having me.
Absolutely. I really appreciate taking the time. I know how busy your schedules can be, and I know what it means setting this time aside with your busy schedule as a leader, as a businesswoman. So I really appreciate it. All right, so let's not waste any time and let's get down to it. As you guys know, the Confident Closers really focuses on empowering women like you, myself, to really connect and understand the stories of other women, to realize that we're not the only ones going through certain things in our lives, right? At many times we feel like we're alone. We feel like, this is only happening to me. I'm the only one who has all these challenges. And the truth of the matter is that success does not come easy to anybody, and success is an ongoing thing, if I want to call it that, right? Like we can never reach the top of success. There's always obstacles, there's always challenges and things to overcome, and so we're constantly seeking to succeed our current situation. And so with that said, I want to ask Victoria, straight to the point, what are two moments in your life that were challenging for you to overcome? In other words, moments that were life changing. And here we're referring to, business, personal. Tell us a little bit about that, Victoria.
Yeah, well, wow, thank you. Well, I think there have been a lot of moments where what you call those moments, there are defining moments, and I've had a lot of them throughout my life. But I think if I were to, think about two specifically, and if I pick one from business and one from personal, you have to hear a little bit about the story, right? Okay, because it goes back to the story, and so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and why that was important to me. And I'm an immigrant. I'm from Colombia, and I came here to the U.S., specifically to New York, with my mom, single mom. Just the two of us when I was a teenager, because she found that she thought that there's more opportunities for me specifically. So I know what it is to be an immigrant, to learn English, not know anything. The first one in my family to graduate from college and to have a business degree. And I went through a lot of different things, right? In terms of financial, culturally, etc., to be able to become a graduate. I graduated in finances, and I started working, very early on as a let's call it an analyst in corporate America, and then a banker, an investment banker. So my industry was finance. I was in Wall Street. I was with other, agencies, the rating agencies. So I knew that I understood as I was growing up that there were a lot of opportunities, but it was very difficult to be in the area of financial services, back at that time, in a world that was a man's world, and to succeed. So there was always I had to give the extra mile. So success definitely comes when you give the extra mile. So the first one in the office, the last one, to leave. And I created a career, a corporate career of being professional and always giving the best of me. Okay. So having said that, I think a lot of people that could relate with me, that are immigrants, have faced that, right? the transformation, the coming, the having to, overcome, not having your family here, learning a new language, learning a new skill. And so, I understand, what it takes. And, having a single mom, or having a mom who actually just like gave everything for me, she always taught me never give up. Like, you can do it, you have everything in you. So I was able to, to start from, an intern to, an analyst to a junior associate, to escalate, as in the corporate ladder, to become, a vice president. And I had a great career. Okay. But what was those moments, right? Those moments. And in the business side, I think one of them definitely is when they laid me off. I mean, I got laid off like 3 times. But one of them was, wow, I give my all, I give everything. I was like, like I said, I was the first one, in the office, and maybe the last one. But it's not about what you do. It's not about your performance per se. Corporate America, they have, different, strategies, and they change methods, and it's not so much about the people, but it's just the big picture. But I was actually one of those that thought that you come to corporate America and that you work really hard, and that that's what they taught me. You go to the university, you work really hard, and then you definitely have a good salary, and then you're there, and then at some point retire, and you have a great life. But then I had that moment where I got laid off, and I had to find a way to start to build and to create. Okay, so that was challenging, but then I start to build confidence. I had so many successes before. I escalated the ladder from zero in corporate America. So having the possibility to open my mind and said, oh wow, maybe I can't be an entrepreneur, maybe I can't work for myself. There's a possibility that with this talent I could actually go and do it.
Wow. And thank you for, taking us back to your story, because I personally can relate as well with, being an immigrant. And I know that many of our listeners can absolutely relate to coming to this country as, young, having their parents move here. Now, I do have a question for you, because we come with that mentality. Your parents are sacrificing, their culture, their life, their families, right? For us, their children, to bring us to other countries, specifically here to the US, right? For a better future. So your whole life, right? It was like, it was embedded in you, you do good, you go to school, and if you do these things, you're guaranteed, to have this successful career, this successful life, and so forth. And so you mentioned you were laid off 3 times, right? And so what were the emotions? Because, okay, you get laid off the first time and you're like, all right, I can pick myself back up, this happens. So how did that affect you from a confidence standpoint? How did that affect, perhaps your drive and the passion that you put in, your entire life, and to do what you were told to do? And so what were those emotions? If, because I'm sure some of the listeners can totally relate to this too. It's like, wait a minute, this is all I've known, this is all I've done. And for some of us, it could be really devastating, right? And we can really find ourselves in a position of perhaps feeling defeated, right? But and not being able to see this as an opportunity for perhaps something that we didn't know was in our future. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, definitely. There is a whole bunch of emotions, definitely, because you may feel like you failed, right? There was something wrong that you did. How come this is happening to you? And then you have those. But I have to be very honest. It took me probably a day or two to realize, wait a minute, okay, this is actually an opportunity for me to do something better. And I think we all go through that, right? We have, I think one of them is rejection, right? We feel we've been rejected, and it's not personal. I had to step back and look at the situation. It's not because of me. I'm one of the best ones here. I'm actually doing a lot more they pay me too much at this point. So it's really a decision that has to do with more with the numbers and with corporate than it's personal. It's not because I did a bad job. It's not because I actually screw up one of the clients, or I did something wrong. It's actually because I'm really good and they pay me really well. And because they pay me really well, now they have to cut costs, and I'm on that side of cost, and they have to be more cost efficient. So when you start to analyze it, and then you look from far, then you're not inside in this emotional roller coaster. And
Okay.
that's what I did. That's what really happened to me, actually, the two times. In the two times that happened to me, the first one, it was actually a great jump to go to a better position, okay, a more flexible position in geographically, because it was when I moved from New York to Florida, and that's where I live right now. And the possibility actually to have a very interesting salary increase, because I had a whole bunch of experience. So it's really interesting, because sometimes we see these situations as just obstacles that talk about more about our character than what we're really made of. So it's not that it was bad character and that's why I got laid off. It's because I was really good and they paid me so much that they couldn't really afford me anymore.
Okay.
So if I take that, then I take the good and I said, how can I, do talk to my people at my acquaintances, start to have my resume, start to move. And then it's action mode, right? Action mode to what is my next stage? What do I have to bring? I have a lot of experience, a lot to bring, more flexibility. And that took me to the second one. The second time, because the first one was before I was professional. The second one was when I was really more as an investment banker. And I think the third one was very crucial. The third one is when I realized that and it was through the financial crisis that I realized that uh, it was sort of about the same, the need to cut costs, same thing. Corporate, the only guarantee that you have is that at some point they're going to lay you off. At some point if you start escalating, there's no guarantee. Okay, and that happens over and over and over again. But that time I already had learned from my first experience, and somebody told me, wow, this is a great opportunity to really go and do what you are actually meant to do. And somebody said that to me, and I took that to heart. And I said, wow, this is my opportunity. And that's when I decided, to, get licenses and study more, look at, how to, be independent. And my possibilities really, expanded. So the second part, yes, you have the roller coaster again. You're like, wow, how come I'm giving so much? But it was to the financial crisis and everything was upside down. And the time to reflect, the time to find confidence in you, the time to find what you could give, the value that you can offer, and how can that add to other people and have an impact, of a real impact. That's what actually started to think, and took me to another level, because that's when I actually started to prepare to be independent and to do what I do today, which is, to really empower other people in the area of finances. So
That's
that's
awesome.
that's definitely one of them.
So wow, that's really powerful. And I don't want to take for granted the fact that, during this time, you were married, you had two kids, and the fact, right, that also, which you'll get into it a little bit more, some of like a personal challenge, right, that you had. And so during times of transition, your children, and, going back to school, right? Because
Yeah.
you went and got your master's after the third time. So tell us a little bit about that. And tell us about, now what was the challenge from a personal standpoint? One thing was, like you mentioned, so it was going from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, and you're not just helping families and women. I mean, you're in the financial space, helping people save for their future. You're helping them, with security for their families, right, and so forth, which we'll get a little bit more into that because I cannot wait for people to really understand what you're doing for the families. But yeah, tell us about those challenges, and then about, because again, sometimes we feel like, well, I have kids now and I couldn't do this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You cannot put aside the personal side. Definitely. My wife, my two children. Why I do things and why I did things. So I have two beautiful, gorgeous, amazing kids. They're actually now both graduated from college. Okay, so I cannot believe it. So yes, I started really young, and they actually saw me through this whole career. Okay, they saw me going back to school because I had, when I got married, I was going to start to do my MBA, and then I got pregnant with my first one. It's Stephanie. She's an amazing, young woman, professional, graduated from college, independent now. And then I have my second one, Jean Pierre, and Jean Pierre also just graduated from college as an artist, and so I couldn't go to school. I was raising children, and I was also, an investment banker, and moving, up in my career. Okay, and I had, one of the most difficult challenges. There were several, but one of the most difficult challenges is my son at a very early age was diagnosed with what they call, in the autism spectrum. He had a speech delay. He did not talk when he was 18 months already. So I had to not only be a mom, but and a wife, and raise a family. But I was also had my career. But now there was this big challenge of making sure that he had everything that he needed, so that he was successful, at least to have a life that was, let's call it, dignifying, right? Okay, because they told me that he was not going to talk. There's no cure for autism. There's no cure for what has. We'll see what happens. And this was back 20 years ago. Okay, he and now we know more about that. But I submerged myself into finding out that everything that he had to do, what we had to do as a family, what he needed, and I realized that you needed money. Okay, and that's why I picked finances, and I continue, because I said we really need as a family a lot of money, because we need to pay for all these therapies. We need to make sure that we have that. If somebody tells me that there's a therapy, I cannot say no because I don't have any money. And that was my mindset. And our challenge, and I could tell you, I'm going to fast forward 20 years, and he does not have the diagnosis anymore. He spoke when he was 3 4. He had a lot of different therapies, speech therapies, occupational, so forth. He actually got a scholarship, a merit scholarship. He's an artist from a very prestigious school in illustration, graduated. So it's just an amazing success story. I call it a victory story, right? Because that's my brand is victory. I had a lot of victories, but remember that victories don't come if you don't fight, right? If you
Amen.
don't have a battle, if there's no something you have to overcome, and that was very challenging as well. But I could say that the persistence, and wouldn't do that if you don't have faith as well. Okay, I think part of my story, no matter where I put it, I had to have faith. I don't know, listeners, what kind of faith you have, whether it's religious or you think of something. Mine has been Christ, and the more that I give the control to Him, He guides me. He puts the right people. But faith without action is dead. It says a
Yes.
very wise book. So you have all the faith, and I thought that it was possible, but you have to put the action. And I think one of the most difficult, parts was just to, be there, no matter what, for my son. And it's, a great victory, and we did it, as a family. So that's actually one of the stories, and writing a book about it. So just wait a couple of years, so maybe
That's
sooner than that.
coming.
But that's a long story, because I have a lot of stories, about that, of just God's, being so faithful in my life and as a family. But also, everybody puts his part. And I think, it's important for a lot of moms out there, who probably have gone through those situations or are going through that. Just, have faith and fight. And there are different resources out there that you have to be an advocate for your children. And always don't believe in what people say. I mean, you don't know how many naysayers I had there. Oh my God, I actually did not tell anybody, about what I was going through, except the professionals and the therapists that knew I was talking about, because there are a lot of people that don't know and they have their own opinions of what life could be. And I never let those negative thoughts enter my mind. And that's, I think that's part of that allowed me to go more and more and more, and be at where we are today.
Absolutely. And all I hear here is persistence, because you didn't finish. I mean, one thing is persistence with your son. I mean, you never gave up. You knew that it was just a diagnosis, but there was a way out, and you persisted on moving forward, and and taking on that challenge and never giving up, and not taking, what was said to you at that moment as the reality, right? And so I hear that there. And then, I mean, you didn't tell your listeners, but I'll go ahead and tell them. I mean, you got your MBA. Okay. So you actually got your MBA after, the third time around. I know the first time you got married, the second time you got pregnant with your first daughter. Then obviously your second son comes around. Now you have the challenge of making sure that, that he's an independent human being as he grows, and that you do everything you got to do. So obviously work takes over. And I know that at times like that, you sort of feel like, oh my gosh, I'm putting my dreams aside. I'm putting, my goals aside. I'm sacrificing this and that. But at the end of the day, what we have to be reminded of is that things don't always happen at the time we want them. And if we continue to be focused, and we have faith, and we have, and we look forward to the possibilities, and we continue to do and take action, things will happen and fall into place when they're meant to. I mean, you tell us how many years ago it's been, but you, after all these years, your children, I don't know at what age, I'm assuming they were teenagers, when you went into a transition or so forth, from going to an entrepreneur and then deciding that you're going to now, this time, no matter what, go get your MBA. Not that you needed it, but you wanted it. And, and it was just really going to take you to that next level, perhaps maybe on a personal level, right? To continue to build that confidence to do what you do now. But so you did it, right? And it didn't happen in the time that you thought it would happen, but it happened in the time that it was meant to happen.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes. That's such a good thought that you just actually mentioned, because we want everything right now, don't we? Right? We want it to happen right now, when I want it, how I want it. And we have to be patient. I mean, there is certain time, it's time for everything. And when my kids, I think, were about 7, 9 years old, everything was just moving along, therapy's moving, I was doing that. Oh, the space. I done a family reunion, like, okay, I'm going to school. I need you to really support me, as a family, which means I may be studying a lot, just like you. And but I'm going to graduate. So it took me 2 years. Is the 2 years I did the executive program. I studied on the weekends, like all weekend. I had nights, and I still, work full time. And I did it. It was more personal satisfaction than anything. It was not like it was important for me to have a raise of salary, but it was a kind of a requisite uh, for me. I wanted to put a check
cross it
on
off.
my list of, and to widen, my perspective, because that's what colleges do, kind of, open your mind, to different ways of thought. I think nowadays it's very expensive, and people don't get the value, that we used to get before. Right now, out of their math. So there's just so many ways to get knowledge right now. But back then it was just that. And it actually set a great example for my children, who actually somehow you stand and say, yeah, what did you get in your exam? I got an A. What did you get in yours? So it
Awesome.
was, so it was really, modeling, towards that. So yes, I think when you have a goal, and it is personal. No matter what, just persist. I think it's the word today, persistence.
Yeah.
Um, and you'll get it. Dreams will come, but you just have to continue to water those seeds in those dreams.
Absolutely. Wow. Awesome. All right. And I think we sort of already mentioned a little bit about this, but here's the question. So, what was your aha moment?
Hmm. I had a wow, aha moments. I've had a lot of aha moments, but I think I'm going to talk about one that is important, which is my switch to become independent. Okay. And I didn't know I was doing this. Trust me, it's not like I had a plan and I said one day, whoa, let me become an entrepreneur. That sounds so sexy and attractive, because I didn't. All I knew is like I knew how to work hard. I knew what it took to projects and things like that for others, but not for myself. And I think my aha moments came when decided to get some licenses. I was introduced to an opportunity to get licenses, become a financial advisor, part-time, and start training. Okay, so my aha moments came. I had already had a financial advisor before, so I was organized financially. But my aha moment came when I started talking to my friends, and I realized that they were not organized at all. That they were in debt. We lived in a very great neighborhood, and they had great cards, but absolutely nothing saved. And I didn't have any of that. It seemed like to me that I was kind of in a bubble, and I had like everything, and I assumed that everybody had everything as well. Okay, that I was not the only one. People were just inundated with credit card debt. I didn't have any. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have life insurance? What will happen to you if you're a single mom, if we take this trip to Europe and something happens? What will happen to your kid? And so to me, it was an aha moment, because I said, wait a minute, I have so much knowledge. I live this, things, right? I don't have debt. I'm saving, I have uh, you know, I guess my financial house structure, in a way that works. How come people don't know this? And I realized there's a lot of ignorance. And ignorance doesn't mean that you don't go to school. I mean, these people are,
Lack of knowledge.
engineers, doctors, there's just, I was like, wow, it's just they don't have the information and I have it. And it's not difficult. I could actually show them. And while I was doing it and getting my licenses, I was actually making money part time. And
So,
I was like, well, if I double,
what licenses were you getting? Tell us a little bit about that.
okay, so in the area of financial services, in order to offer, certain services and products, you have to have certain licenses. One of them is the life insurance license, for example, to offer products of protection, asset protection, and income protection, and also Series 6, 63, which are 65, are investments to help clients in their investment strategies, medium term, long term, for example, um, mutual funds, retirement, 401ks, IRAs, or so forth, to have a strategy, as well in terms of saving. Okay, saving for retirement, saving to have a house, for example. You could have different strategies, so you need those licenses. And then I have also the broker's license, which is to have a team, because I have an agency and I help agents to become to get licensed and to have all the knowledge and become competent. We also do, for example, mortgages. Okay, have a loan officer's license too, to help clients in one of the the purchase of one of the most important assets, right, which is their homes. So all those licenses are needed so that you can help families achieve a financial plan for independence, for saving, etc., right? And create all the strategies. So I started to get competent and to get, to help families. My aha moments came when I was helping one of my friends, and we were going on a trip. And I was like, okay, I have to get trained. And not only that, but I started looking around, and most of my friends and other people were not um, organized financially. And I had just the right information, the right tool, and the right work ethic to help them. And then I said, okay, now I think I could become full time. I could do this on my own. Let me just, have a strategy. And when I did that, in a period of, and made a decision in a period of 6, 7 months, I already have my agency. And that's what I'm actually currently doing, for the past 8 years. So an independent
Awesome.
financial advisor and broker, helping families do the same.
So you basically, all right, so here we are. You've been in the financial industry, and it just happens to be that, through your layoffs, now you're given, you're presented with this opportunity. Obviously, after also, not only are you presented with an opportunity of like, hey, you should be doing this, like there's something bigger for you. You can be independent. And then, you have this aha moments with your friends, and it's like, how come you guys are not financially stable? Like, you have nice cars, we have this and that, but you guys are like drowning in debt. And you really saw, your purpose there, right? Like now, not just working for corporate America, helping people who perhaps are in good financial, have some good financial stability, and just really helping them, to continue to maintain that. But now you're going to those who, as an independent entrepreneur, it's like now you can get down to the people, right? And help them and set them up for success. And so, wow, that's really fulfilling. And who would have known, right? Who would have known that
Yeah.
all this, like, studying your whole life, or, doing certain things your whole life, and, just life prepares us for the future that we don't know, whether it's on a personal level from experiences or from a career level as well. So that's powerful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything that you would have done different in your past
Hmm.
so far?
Uh, if you were to ask, do I have regrets of things that I have had? Actually, I don't. Probably, I would probably have worked more, studied more, and become an entrepreneur sooner, right?
Okay.
And I spent so much time, in corporate America. I don't think it's been a waste. It has not at all. I've built a lot of experiences, but I think everything, like you said, has prepared me to be where I'm at today.
Totally.
Okay, even the experiences in corporate and the time that I was there, especially, uh, the possibility and what I did of just getting organized financially, it set me up to do the transition. Okay, to
Yeah.
do the transition and to be where we're building today. So yeah, I don't think I have any regrets. If I were to do it probably a little bit sooner, I probably would have jumped, but everything has its timing. Okay, everything has its timing.
Totally.
So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Now, you did mention one of your sources of confidence is God. Are there any other
Mhm.
sources that you tap into to build up your confidence?
Yeah, yes. Okay. So, definitely, God and my faith, is my main source. But when I don't feel as confident or secure, I go back to my past victories, and I go back to my why. Why am I doing this? Okay. And it's very simple now. Like it used to be, a time where like you see everything negative, but I said, well, I was able to do this. Okay, back then, what did I use back then? How come now I know I can do it? Okay, I have it in me, and it's to just kind of a reflection and self analysis. Look, I looked myself in the mirror and I totally, truly, I tell you, I said myself, Victoria, you can do this. You've done it before. Okay. You've done it before. You have the resources. You have everything in you. Okay. And I have great name. Okay. So it's Victoria, it's victory. And I actually have taken that as a root of, okay, I'm going to win. I don't lose. I learn, right? I learn from, whatever. So I'm going to learn. Okay, well, I'm going to win. Okay, in this particular situation, I actually do feed from other coaches and other people that are important in my life. Where I believe that experiences and successes of other people could teach you a lot. So I look at in me and I said, well, you can do it. What victories have you had before? But then I also look at the right people. I mean, not everybody I lent my ear. So just those two that know me, that know what I have in me, that have seen me, and that have had great successes in the past. So that's where I get my confidence.
Awesome. What are 2 tips you can share with our listeners in moments of distress or doubt? Well, you pretty much just share that right now.
Yes, yeah, yes. Those are the tips. Okay, really
Totally.
is to look within you. Okay, really look within you. I think we look at what is this great tips that could allow us to have success, and we're like, oh, what are the success tips? But at the end of the day, becomes with a self analysis and reflection of the resources that you have at hand, and is you are a wonderful human being. And I'm talking to you as you, Ana Maria, right? And every single listener that is here. We all have had successes at some point, whether it is school, whether it's you overcame a situation, because we all have had them.
Yeah.
But if you look within you, you see that there was just something that you did that moved you to go and overcome that situation. So I think confidence becomes within because you know that it's in you, and then fear comes to and attack us, right? And it's just the ability to not hold on to fear, right? To fear, to the anxiety, to all these negative thoughts, and to say, wait a minute and stop it, right? Stop. Let's see what I have. This is what I have. I'm a unique individual. I have value. I'm worth it. And because I have all these things, there is a specific plan and purpose for me. And you know what? It's here. Let me go find it and let me be bold about it. And I think that's the source of confidence comes within you. Not what people say about you, not what people think about you, not what how they see you in social media, or how beautiful or ugly that people think you are, but it comes to what you think about yourself. It's
Yeah.
about believing in you. And so I think that's the number one tip. And that's the one I use. Okay, so I could give you that one. And like the second one is your inner circle. Okay,
Awesome.
and you probably have heard about that, but it's just the 2 3 people that you always go to, that know who you are, that know the core, that will be with you no matter what, and that understand that you do have also a purpose, that when those people come, they're negative, tell you the wrong things, they're going to give you the right one. Okay, the one that you need, which is you can do it, go for it, whether it's a project or whether it's just an idea or a personal situation, because we all have them.
Yeah.
So I'll say those will be the two.
Great, great. I couldn't agree more. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So I know you did sort of just mention that there's a project in the far future, which is a book. So we're waiting for that. But what are there any other projects in your career or life that you would like to share with us right now? What are you doing right now? How can we support you? And so tell us a little bit about that. And then also, how can our listeners connect with you?
Okay, wonderful. Yes. Well, we're definitely working very aggressively into the expansion of our business. And what I do right now is just to empower people just like me, just like you and I, that want to be independent, that want to have their own agency, that want to get their licenses, that want to learn about finance, that want to take control of their finances, and that want to help and impact others just as I do. So we're in this amazing expansion project of doing that across the US. So in the next 12 months or so, we're looking to open 3 to 5 offices here in the US. There's some in the state of Florida, and then other states up north. So it's just, get the word around. If there's somebody that really is interested, to learn about the program, I'm very excited because we worked very diligently in the last, 2 years on the system, not only the system of getting the licenses, but to have a system that has an educational platform, plus digital marketing and everything is online, automated. It's allowed us to be more efficient, and to be able to reach more people so that they could get competent faster than we used to do before. Okay, so we have an amazing system. So we are actually, launching. We actually did launch our program. So if anybody's interested, they could contact me, so I could give them the webinar, the presentation, and look at this amazing, project as we empower more families, more women that wanted to do the transition, start part time and learn, and get very, 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 very knowledgeable about their own personal finances. So yes, and then the book. I'll be back, but it is in the works actually. So I'll let you know when is the right time. But yeah, right now, just connect to me through the social media. It's Victoria Sanchez, very simple. And you can just, contact me through, direct message, or just, directly to my, personal numbers.
Awesome. So I'll make sure that I share your information in the description of this podcast. And if you're watching the video, I'll make sure that this is inside here, our YouTube link, so that you can contact Victoria. So you heard, if you are looking for a transition, for, a change of career, if you're looking to get educated in the financial space, whether it's, and it's getting education for yourself to set yourself for success, and also be able to help others. Or if you're just, a woman who right now, you love what you're doing, you love your career, you have money sitting in your account perhaps, and you're like, hey, I don't know anything about finances, I really want to make my money go somewhere. I would love to have Victoria really like help me understand how I can, I can have Roth IRA and or life insurance perhaps. There's so many things. Children, we have children. Do we have like our finances set up for our children if something, God forbid, was to happen? So
Mm.
if these, any of these touch you personally, reach out to Victoria. She personally, it's my financial advisor. I haven't applied all the everything that she guides me, because again, whatever life happens, but I do learn from her, and I do. And and she set me up with my Roth IRA, she set me up with my life insurance. She's really helped me. And so I'm always learning from her. And I would love the same for you guys. So Victoria, thank you so, so much. This was really wonderful. I am so grateful that you were able to have the time aside to really share with myself and the listeners right now, your journey, and give us some of your advice on how you overcome the life challenges. And the word of the day, persistence. It's all about persistence. So ladies listening, persistence. And if there's any males right now listening here too, like, share these videos with your wives, with your friends, with your daughters. Make sure that you share this podcast. We all really sometimes need all the time, we need words of encouragement, and to hear from somebody else that we can relate to, that, what, uh we just need to be patient and be persistent. So thank you.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Absolutely. And you guys, now next episode, I will have another amazing guest. So do not miss it out. Make sure that you go to our podcast here on iTunes, on all whatever platform you're on. Follow this podcast, The Confident Closer, and you will be notified with the next episode coming. I promise you, it's another amazing story.